What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I was looking through the comments of the last video. Why Sony went third party, or I forgot what PlayStation went third party, whatever it was called. I don't remember. I don't think I made my point all that well, but whatever. We'll talk about that later, because there are going to be some more things that happen on the Sony side that are going to illustrate why they're doing what they're doing. But one person in the comments, I forgot the name, sorry for that, said Sony won, bro, basically. I appreciate the comments, of course. All comments are welcome. Just don't be mean and such to other. You can be mean to me, I don't care. But just to each other, make sure y'all not being too mean to each other. And so I was like, okay, that's a statement. But my question is, what did they win? Like, you're going to use the metric of they sold the most consoles, so they're the market leader based on that, and so they won. I mean, that's a simplification of it, right? And I say, okay, so they won. First of all, they didn't win. I'm going to tell you why. They didn't win because they don't think they won. The reason why they don't think they won is because Sony wants to destroy their competition. They don't want competition. They want to eliminate competition. The same thing that Sony did to Sega. I mean, Sega was already falling off of the cliff, and they were hanging on by a pinky, and Sony came over and stomped them in the hand. Sony finished them off. I mean, Sega was going down. Yes, I'm not saying it was totally Sony that totally destroyed Sega Dreamcast back in the day and caused them not to make any consoles anymore. But they did not help the situation. They helped it along as far as Sega not making consoles anymore. That's what Sony does. They eliminate competition. That's what they want to do. You listen to Jim Ryan, he's like, I don't want this deal to go through. I was like, well, why would you say you don't want the deal to go through? What's wrong with, well, why? Are you scared? What's wrong? Huh? Because he knew that Sony could not compete with Microsoft. PlayStation could not compete with Xbox and the resources they had through Microsoft. And Sony just don't have those deep pockets like that. Now, whatever. That's just the situation. Sony's smaller than Microsoft. Xbox is in a better position to dominate and put the right people in the right places, get the right funding for the right programs. You see what's happening right now, right? You go on the PlayStation store, ain't nothing but Xbox games up there. Why? Because PlayStation ain't making no games. So Microsoft said, let's throw our games and let's sprinkle all our old ass games on there. Bling, bling, a couple of new ones, of course. And they're all selling. They're all top 10. 6 out of 10. Come on, son. And so I'm like, okay, Sony's idea of winning is destroying the competition, so there's no competition, so they automatically win. You got to pay attention. This is how they have been historically, always trying to destroy the competition. When they go and money out games and say, no, you can't go on Xbox, you can't go on Game Pass, you can't even advertise that you're going to be on Xbox in the future. You can't do none of that. What does that say? Is that a company that is thriving to make the console market healthy and fruitful and prosperous? No. They're like, nah, cut them off. They don't get to play in our playground with our ball. They're trying to stifle and muffle the competition, eliminate them. They've been trying to do it forever. That's their whole MO. That's how they operate. But they realized that doesn't work anymore, especially when you're trying to eliminate a giant that is how many times bigger? They're like, 10 times bigger than they are. So that's not actually the number, but they're four almost $5 trillion company versus what is Sony? Maybe 100 billion or something like that. I'm just saying. And so all these people who still are on this console unit sale metric, They're dinosaurs. They're knuckleheads. They're idiots. You need to open your eyes to a wider vision, a wider reality. That is, I mean, Sony already knows this. That's why they changed their model as far as success is not about how many consoles sold, because we sold all these consoles and we're not succeeding properly. So how do we succeed? Wait, we're doing what we were supposed to do, right? Yeah, you're still failing. How's that? We still don't make enough money. How is that? How are you number one in the market? You're not. You make the most revenue, but are you making the most profit? That's sus. I don't think that. No, I think Microsoft actually passed them last quarter. So they're not number one. And they're not winning right now. They're actually losing. They're losing ground because they don't have enough games. Look, if Ghost of Yote comes out and it is not 100 out of 100, if it's not the best game they ever made in the history of PlayStation, then they're in trouble. So let's just say they're in trouble because that game's not going to be all that. Okay? And there are so many other games that are coming out constantly. Not just Xbox, because Xbox got, I mean, they say they got about 40 games in development, right? If you spread that 40 games across, let's just say 5 games a year, right? What's that? Was that 8 years? Is that 8 years? 8 years. That's a whole nother generation. It's like, do you realize how much what Microsoft has right now? Just chilling. They have 40 games. They have the whole next generation mapped out, basically. And PlayStation over here struggling. They're like, is the funky donkey prophet lady girl? That gonna be a good game? Astra Mecha Intergalactic, is that gonna be a good game? Nobody knows. There's doubt in the quality of PlayStation games going forward because Concord was such a colossal failure. Never forget that everybody's like, we don't want that to be another Concord. You see what's happening right now? People are like, yo, Fair Games, that gonna be another Concord? There's Concord 2. What about Marathon? They're afraid that it's gonna be another Concord. It's bad when everyone is referring to your next potential game or games as a service, multiplayer game, as a Concord in a negative connotation. That's bad. And that's what PlayStation is right now. And it doesn't help that Herman Hulse is sitting up here. Yes, we're going to learn from our mistakes. And you got that soft, smooth voice, right? And we have greater oversight now. And I'm like, this motherfucker, this dude, I'm still amazed he still has a job. I don't know. I guess it's like, look, that wasn't my fault. That was Bungie. I ain't had nothing to do with it. That was Jim. I ain't have nothing to do with that. All the good things that I've done. Look at Horizon's numbers. 38 million. That's a lot of numbers, right? And they're like, fine, Hermie. You can stay. But Lego of the Whole, I don't know about that game. It's like, we're going to release it on Xbox and then we'll see. All right, now. You going to put the other game? Yes, the other games will be on Xbox too. All right, if we don't see no numbers, you know where the door is. Because Jim went through the door before. That's going to be you. Okay? Okay. I'm just saying, look. PlayStation, they're in a bad situation. Whether or not the Donkey Unicorns and the Ponies want to admit it, they can keep saying they won as much as they want to. But them putting a first-party game on Xbox, on the losing platform, is an admission that they did not win. Because, like I said before, winning to them is destroying the competition. If they won, they wouldn't have to put their games on Xbox. Because the Xbox is losers, and winners don't congregate with losers. They don't do deals with losers, do they? No, they don't. Because winners are in the winner's circle with all the other winners, right? So to me and to Sony too, because this is how they think. Well, how they did think. Now Hiroki Totoki is changing the environment over there at PlayStation, the culture, if you will, at PlayStation. And these Donkey Unicorns and Ponies do not like the new culture at PlayStation. And this new culture is getting money however they can. And if that means getting in bed with Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Phil Maximus, Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name, last of his kind, then guess what? Halo is going to be in Helldivers. And guess what? Halo's going to be on PlayStation. And guess what? It's going to sell a lot of units. And guess what? 70% is going to PlayStation. 70% going to Xbox and 30% going to Play. And that's all they care. It's like, oh, we get our 30%. Okay. You want to put it up? Okay. Yeah, sure. If it is 70-30, maybe it's I don't know if they actually did that. Maybe they did keep it 70-30, or maybe they. I know if I think the rumor is that PlayStation games on Xbox, like Helldivers or whatever, if Sony agrees to do the Play Anywhere type of deal, then they get a better cut. They get the 8812 or whatever the cut is. That's similar to Epic Game Store, I believe, does that as well. But anyway, for the most part, it's math, right? And it's corporations trying to make as much money as possible. These fanboys are stuck on the exclusivity type of angle, the console unit sales type of angle, and they're not seeing where the money is. And I don't think they realize that the business model has changed because Sony kind of, I don't want to say they self-sabotaged themselves, but they didn't do what they needed to do to maintain a diverse audience. They just did what they did the last generation, right? They didn't give you a variety of games that would say, oh, that's a cool game for little kids or something. Like all the games that were like that, like Little Big Planet and whatever, the other little kart racing game that they had, I think, did Media Molecule make that? I don't think they make it. It was just another little kart racer that was pretty cool. Them studios are gone. They're like, it's literally, no, whatchamacallit, the devs that made Little Big Planet and Dreams, Media Molecule. I just said that. I think they're still around, if I'm not mistaken, but Dreams got shut down. I believe they're not supporting it anymore. And look, there's so many different things that Sony messed up in, as far as just take it. I said this before in another video. Dreams should have been a it should have been on PC, period. Because you cannot sit here and say, oh, yeah, we have 100 million consoles, so one game, this is going to be cool, and a whole bunch of people. No, you have to sell that to as many. I don't know. Maybe it's the culture. Maybe it's the culture of the previous administration over at PlayStation. But the new guys, who are the money guys, are like, yo, well, specifically Hiroki Totoki. He's like, yo, everything goes everywhere. That's how you make the money. That's all he cares about, is making the money, right? And so now the emphasis and the direction is more about making money. And so how do you do that? You put your games everywhere. So my thought was that they're going to prioritize games as service type of games that they have. So like Gran Turismo 7 maybe would come over. Even though, Forza is probably a better game. And Forza Motorsport's still alive. They're still working on it. Well, they still have maintenance at least, even though the studio's cut down. But and what other freaking games is there? The show, but that's not really theirs. But all those, like, if you think about any type of games as service game, multiplayer game that PlayStation makes, PlayStation publishes, it is going to go on Xbox. Period. There's no question. That's it. So Fair Games, if it comes out, and Marathon, if it comes out, definitely going to Xbox. We already know what Marathon is. Fair Games, I'm gonna say it is. Okay, like I said, if it comes out. Beyond those, which is sparse, not a lot of games, but they can say, okay, well, we can hold, we can release one of those once a year, so they can hold off the inevitable, which is Spider-Man, God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted. Those games, they're definitely coming to Xbox because their old games not making money. And Hiroki's like, what's up with What's up with these dusty ass things on the shelf over here? Well, Hiroki, those are our prized exclusives. It's what? I'm sorry, I speak Japanese. What did you just say? Because that's not in our vocabulario. I don't understand what that exclusive means. That the game is only in. You can just stop right there because Xbox. Put the sticker, ship it. Put it on that. Let's go. Where's Nix's doing? Put them on it. Let's go. I'm telling you, them games are coming. You could deny it all you want. They're coming. And I'm gonna be sitting there. I'm gonna go home tonight. Guess what? I'm gonna buy Helldivers 2. I don't even think I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna just buy it. I'm gonna buy it. Buy it. Maybe I play around it too. I don't really want to play it. I'm just like, buy it because I want to support the cause. The cause is getting PlayStation to go whole slate, and the better these things perform, the more inclined they will be to do that. Also, the numbers. There was a little bit of numbers that came out today. I think it was today. So the peak after launch for Helldivers concurrently was 200,000. I think it was on Steam or whatever. No, it wasn't on Steam. I forgot what it was, but it was 200,000, right? And after this launch on the Xbox, it was 300,000. So I'm like, wait, how is it higher than? That's interesting. So I want to know what the sales numbers are. It's gonna be pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna scoop it up and see what's up. I downloaded Gears, so I might pop into that tonight and see just a single player. I don't know if I'll play any multiplayer. I definitely like Horde mode. Horde mode is definitely dope on Gears. I remember one time I was playing with a bunch of friends, and we got to freaking, well, it's like 50, right? I think we got to 48 or 49 or something. We got like right there, and we could not do it. I was like so mad. I was like, oh my gosh, we just spent like an hour and a half playing this goofy game, and then so good. But yeah, Gears is going to do well. It's going to be on the top of the charts again because Xbox games sell on PlayStation because PlayStation ain't got no games, and they're better games. Xbox, I'm going to say it, Xbox makes better games than PlayStation as a whole, overall, because A, they make more games, and B, they're not all the same. It's a variety. You got the best racing game, open world. You got the best third-person shooter game. I mean, there's a whole 6 of them. Five of them plus DLC. 6, actually, there are 6 of them. That's Gears. You have one of the best first-person shooters, Halo. You can say what you want, but it's still one of the best. What else? They don't do any sports games. Microsoft used to do a sport. I forgot what it's called. They used to do a sports game, but they stopped that a long time. I think it was the original Xbox, but yeah, they stopped that. I'm trying to think. I mean, besides, and then you go into the indie stuff, and there's a whole bunch of indie games and stuff. I mean, South of Midnight. It's not AAA, but it's also not an indie game. So what was that? AA? I guess you consider it a AA. It's a really good game though. Games like that, games coming up like what's it, Seeker, the new Tim Schafer joint, Double Fine, that looks dope. So it's just such a variety of games, right? And this is all, I'm talking all first party. I'm not even talking about third party and all. That's what, and the funny thing is, I've heard some of these CEOs, these former CEOs of PlayStation, the history of PlayStation has always been a heavy reliance on third-party games and software and offerings. And I'm like, And I thought about it, and I thought back, and I was like, yeah, he's right. So how are they like all this and all that? I mean, it's changed right now because Xbox said, yo, we just gonna buy a whole bunch of stuff, and we're gonna have a whole bunch of good stuff that is all us. So when we sell it in our store, 100%. We don't have to give 30% to nobody, or we don't have to give 70% to nobody. It's all ours. And that's just starting like now. Well, this year, I would say, it's just starting. So the thing that's going to happen with Xbox, I don't think people realize it, like the more games that come out, that they're putting out first party, that they, that people buy on Xbox, that's like more money than they would make through Steam. And they're going to make money on Steam, obviously, and on PlayStation as well. But like just the volume of games that they're making is going to make them more money than Sony can ever make because they don't have enough games. It's just it's a numbers situation at this point. They don't have enough games compared. Like if you're selling products, two people selling products. This person has 100 products. This person has 10 products. You're selling it at the same rate. The person who has more products is going to make more money because they have the potential to make more money because they have more products. It's simple math. So Sony is going to be struggling for a minute. And the thing is like Xbox will help them because when they sell their products on PlayStation, they get a cut. So it's almost like a charity, if you will. And you can say the same thing as PlayStation putting games on Xbox, sure. But it's not about PlayStation helping out Xbox because they don't need help. If Xbox decided to go exclusive, just all of a sudden, you know what? Kumbaya is overrated. Phil retired. I'm the new boss. My name's Matthew Booty. We killing y'all. It's over. I was playing nice because the boss said to play nice. He had the muzzle on, but now it's all. I'm off the chain. I'm sorry. I'm not having this. That's Matt Bulldog Booty, Matt Pitbull Booty. And yeah, somebody in the look. As long as Phil is in there, Sony, you better be lucky. You better count your prayers and blessings and all that stuff. As long as Phil is in there, y'all are safe. But if Matthew or someone else who is diabolical, who is acting like what Sony CEOs used to act like, y'all in trouble. Because there could be somebody like young like me, right? Young in relation to as far as, CEOs and stuff. And they go in there like, yeah, I grew up and I love the Dreamcast. And I don't appreciate what y'all did, Sony, to my childhood. So ergo, therefore, we killing y'all. And so, boom, everything's exclusive. Call of Duty's exclusive. Everything. You got no games. You got to rely on third party. Look, it can happen. It can happen. And the FTC and everybody, they can't say nothing. It's like, yo, we made these games. We don't want to put them over there. What you want to do? It's like, if you're going to say something about this, then what about all, you got it. You can't just look at us. You got to look at the whole industry. And, if you're going to do this and that. But so, I mean, the way that it is now, I think, like I said, there has to be like a crazy diabolical CEO to come in to change things like that. But if the next person to step into Phil's shoes has the same kind of goal and outlook, then it's cool. It's cool. Kumbaya and all that stuff. And people were making fun of the Kumbaya, but look what's happening right now. It's Kumbaya like a mud flower, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's like, yay, everybody's playing games, yeah. When we all play, we all win. Right? That's what and people thought that Phil was like a goofball or whatever. Like, what is he talking about? What's this Kumbaya crap? I guess Sony was paying attention. Last thing. Reforged Gamer is stupid. Let's just say that. Not in a classical sense, but metaphorically speaking, he's a dumbass. And he swears that Phil and Microsoft and Xbox forced Sony to go third party, or what? And I can't look. At one point, I'm gonna be in the studio, and I'm gonna be I'll do the disembodied voice thing first, but I'll have the camera on, and I'm gonna go through Twitter, and I'm gonna laugh at these people in the clips and stuff. I'm gonna do that stuff because I kind of used to do that before, and it's, I mean, me thinking about it right now is kind of irking me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, what? I mean, I can understand how Alex just freaks out and he crashes multiple times a stream, because I'm just watching a section of a stream and he's just like going crazy. I'm like, wow, how is Revo? And you're like, but you just said. I'm like, okay. But anyway, yeah, Reforge is he's coping hard. He's trying to make any type of excuse, any type of intelligible sentence structure to make it seem like it wasn't Sony's idea. It was Xbox's idea. You see, first, you guys don't understand. I can't. I was doing his voice real good before, but I lost it. But he was saying that it was initially Xbox's idea. And so here's what I say. I remember Phil. This was when Helldivers first released. Phil said he's something like, it would be a good idea to put it on Xbox too, because it's that type of game basis. He basically said that. I forgot what his actual verbiage was, but he said something like that. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a multiplayer game. Just put it on. Who cares? And that was when it first launched. So I'm thinking, okay, how long does it take to port Helldivers, the PC version, I would assume, to Xbox? I would say no more than 6 months. Has it been a year already? I don't even know how long it's been out. But maybe that was the impetus. So in a way, Reforge may have been correct, and then he did admit that it was, at the end of the day, it is Sony's call because it's Sony's IP. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But everything else, he just keeps trying to make it sound like it wasn't Sony's idea. Sony had nothing to do with it. It's all Xbox started it. The impetus was an Xbox. So that makes it okay, and Sony's not a bad guy, and they don't look pitiful and hungry. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Sony wants money, and they saw opportunity to make money on a platform they have been ignoring, and that's what's happening right now. And so you could say whoever started this conversation away, doesn't matter. The point is, Sony said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make this money. And now it's about optics, isn't it? How does Sony look now? They don't look like the market leader when they're putting their quality on a piece of trash, last place console, quote unquote, of course. But there's not. We all know Xbox is very, very good. So yeah, it's like I'm listening to these Donkey Unicorns, these Ponies. I don't even listen to Dreamcast guy anymore. He's just whatever. He's a super grifter. He, whatever he says, he's just trying to make that money. And so does Reforge. And that's the thing. Like I said in the last video, these content creators are in trouble because they have to try to salvage any type of good news that would be PlayStation centric, because they built their platform off of being Fanboys and Ponies and Donkey Unicorns and PlayStation positive channels. And the way that they did that was disparaging and attacking Xbox, instead of just being like, yo, Sony makes really good games, I like these games, I like their games, and not really contributing to the console war. Last thing about the console war. People calling the new thing the content war and all that stuff. No. It's always going to be a console war. But the things that matter within the actual war, the battles, are not going to be unit sales. It's just the metric that is important has changed. Still console wars, because it's like this console represents Xbox and their ecosystem. That's what the understanding needs to be. You say console wars, you say, okay, it's PlayStation versus Xbox. We're not saying the console itself, we're saying all that entails the identity of PlayStation, all that entails the identity of Xbox. And now that the identity of PlayStation is being destroyed in front of all of the Ponies and Donkey Unicorns, and their worst nightmares happening right in front of their faces, we have to fall back on games. And they swear quality of games and all that stuff. That's fine. Look, you can have a quality game, whatever, but if it doesn't sell well, a la Concord, never forget, it's a failure. It sucks. It's trash. It's hot garbage. That's just the quick and dirty. I'm just saying. I'm going to say Concord wasn't a bad game. Concord had quality. It had quality aspects of it that were of quality, of PlayStation quality, of a nice, I just watched a whole bunch of stuff because of King. And I'm like, yeah, that looks good. I mean, the gameplay looks all right. It's cool, I guess. I mean, the characters are kind of goofy looking, but they could have fixed that. by doing a little redesign stuff here and there. Nothing too major, but it's not that hard to. I mean, I say it's not that hard, but it's a 3D. It's a 3D. It's a 3D model. I mean, you make something that people like to look at. It's like if you design a vehicle, a motor vehicle, SUV, car, whatever, sports car, and it's ugly as dirt. Not dirt, griggity, but dirt in the dirt, ground dirt. But it's the best performing ugly car. I mean, it's gonna get some accolades for performance, but not a lot of people are gonna buy it because it's ugly. People don't like ugly things. The thing about us humans, which sucks, is that the aesthetics of anything, if something is aesthetically pleasing, it kind of triggers pheromones or what, not pheromones, but endorphins in your brain and all this stuff, and you feel happy, like, oh, that's pretty. Or you see a cute baby, it's like, that's a cute baby, bling bling, little snaps just go off in your head and stuff, you know. You see a nice little car, it's like, yo, that's a nice shining, that's great. You see the sky and there's birds chirping, pretty clouds, blue sky, sunlight, green trees. That's great. But then you see something ugly, you're like, I mean, look, I ain't gonna lie. Some people like ugly stuff. Some people like the darker things. I'm just saying. Maybe that turns them on like in a different way. But generally speaking, people like to look at beautiful things. And the point of me saying all that is PlayStation 5 is an ugly console. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. It is an ugly console. But whatever. Anyway, I rambled long enough. I've done a little too long. I appreciate y'all hanging out, like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think is the ugliest PlayStation console. I think we went through this again all over before. What? And yeah, just, I mean, look, you know, this generation is cool. I like it. I like what's going on. I like the technology. I like the advancements in technology, but also there is a fear in me about what NVIDIA is doing as far as like kind of pushing all this AI stuff to cover up the fact that their performance isn't where it should be, and they're trying to use the AI upscaling stuff as a crutch to get it where it's supposed to be instead of doing that raw, you know what I mean? So there's a little slippery slope happening within the technology advancements within the industry on the PC side and the console side, but I think overall it's looking good, and I think there will be, you know, we're in the beginning, we're in the kindergarten phases of like just AI upscaling stuff, right? I mean, it's been around for a good number of years, 10 years or 15 years or so, but we're starting to get into it for real. And so I have a positive outlook on those things. But anyway, I appreciate, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Till the wait.